Let's continue our study of nomenclature by examining covalent molecules. Now we've already established rules for naming ionic compounds. Now let's make a distinction and study covalent molecules. There's two separate naming systems, one for ionic compounds and one for covalent molecules. So the trick will be to recognize if you're dealing with an ionic compound or something that's covalent. Remember that an ionic compound is a bond between a metal and a nonmetal. Let's contrast that with a covalent bond. That's an attraction between atoms resulting from the sharing of electrons, and it occurs between a nonmetal and a nonmetal. So here's the distinction. This is between two nonmetals. An ionic bond is once again between a metal and a nonmetal. So if you see a metal, if there's a metal involved, you know right away it's an ionic compound. If there's only nonmetals involved, well, that will be a covalent bond. And here are the rules for naming covalent molecules. The first element in the formula is named first, using its name. The second element is named as if it were an ion, that is, by adding the suffix "ide." So kind of similar to before. However, we have to use a prefix to indicate the number of atoms present. Now you're probably already familiar with these prefixes. Remember the prefix for 1? Mono. What about 2? Di. 3 is tri. 4 is tetra. 5 is penta. 6 is hexa. 7 is hepta. 8 is octa. 9 is nona. And 10 is deca. Now I don't necessarily know any tricks for memorizing these, just you have to buckle down and do it, I suppose. So make sure you memorize these prefixes. Okay, here's another fairly simple rule. The word mono is not used when naming the first atom in the formula. Also, if the second atom is oxygen, then we drop the O or the A of the prefix. Here's what I mean. Do you know what the name of this is? You probably already recognize this compound as carbon monoxide. And you probably knew how to say it correctly. Notice what you did not say. You did not say monocarbon monoxide. What you did is you dropped the mono on the first element. So you did not say mono, and then you also dropped the O or the A of the prefix. So you don't say monoxide, you just say monoxide. You kind of let it all roll off your tongue. Okay, let's practice a few of these. These should go fairly quick. This is boron, and then we have 3 fluorines. So boron trifluoride. This is carbon and 4 iodines. So carbon tetraiodide. Why don't you pause the video now and practice the rest of them on your own, and then come back and see how you did. This is nitrogen and 2 oxygens. So nitrogen dioxide. This is 2 nitrogens and 5 oxygens. So dinitrogen pentoxide. This is nitrogen trihydride. The common name for nitrogen trihydride is ammonia. Ammonia is so commonly used in chemistry that you should probably just memorize it. So NH3 is called ammonia. This has 2 oxygens and 2 fluorines. So it's dioxygen difluoride. Here we have 4 phosphorus and 3 sulfurs. So tetraphosphorus trisulfide. We have 1 nitrogen and 1 oxygen. So that's just nitrogen monoxide. Hopefully you did not say mononitrogen monoxide. Remember, drop the mono on the first element, and also be careful of the double vowels here. This is just monoxide. This next compound is dinitrogen monoxide. This stuff is commonly called nitrous oxide or laughing gas. It's used at the dentist. It's also used in cars too, race cars, for example. Notice that there's a difference between nitrogen dioxide and dinitrogen monoxide. These are very different things. Let's see what you wrote down for this. Did you write down dihydrogen monoxide? Maybe you did. Of course, maybe a better word would just be water. But dihydrogen monoxide is the correct official name for water. 4 phosphorus and 6 oxygen. So tetra phosphorus hex oxide.